a chance to dive into all the facets of Ramonda's time.
It was thrilling to be able to take, have a return trip to Wakanda, and spend some more time there. It was a great adventure the first time around. Yeah, she was a little bit more laid back and there in support of her amazing children. So yeah, more of a support role, wise counsel, but this time because of real life occurrences, more was required in the story as they began to try to figure out, in the midst of this incredible heartbreak, the writers, Joe and Ryan, had to really dig deep, and they found a way into telling this story. This time, being a story of mother and daughter. The previous time, it was really more of a father and son's journey. Those two very different. How T'Challa was raised with a father there in the household and there supporting him and guiding him, and the way Killmonger was raised with far, far, far away from from Wakanda and all that it offered in its solitude, isolation from the rest of the world and from colonization. But what happened to him, being without a father and raising himself, and the whole idea of revenge and taking revenge. So this time around, it was an opportunity to tell from the woman's point of view, dealing with grief, and from a woman's female point of view, and a mother-daughter story.
Tell me a little bit about, those scenes with Letitia and really, tapping into trying to teach her these lessons, because what we find in the film is that she's not coping. She doesn't know how to deal with these emotions, to tap into them, and that's really all her mother wants to do. She wants to know that she'll be okay.
Yeah, I have had an opportunity to see it twice. I saw it today for a second time also. So it was, I remember in the playing of it, I had a wonderful time working with Letitia. I just love her dearly. She is so adorable, and she's so much fun on the set. She is a bottle of energy, and she is as smart as a whip. But yeah, and I have teenagers myself, 16, and I swear they know everything, and I know nothing. I mean, they just, oh my gosh, if I say anything, I am, it's a stereotype or something, I just can't be right, save my life. And a lot of times I just have to listen patiently and just quietly do my thing, be an example indeed, and hope that they will come around with experience. And so that's what I see in Ramonda in her dealings, this time with her daughter, especially when she says, so it's a construct of your mind to soothe her. It's like, say nothing. But it's, it's like, oh, really, is it? All right. We'll back up and we'll try something else. That didn't work, That's what they teach you in acting, you have an objective, and if it doesn't work, then you try something else, and then you try another tack. So patience and gentleness and quietness seems to work with her.
Yes, when Mom says, she normally is thinking something else, but she's giving you grace.
I know. I remember telling Ryan, we had to do ADR for some of the dialogue at the end, and I was like, oh, Ryan, let me do it, like stronger, like, like, look at strong. It's like an angel whisper. Let me do it strong. He was like, no, that's my favorite line in the movie. It's a whole world in there from his point of view.
Listen, there are a lot of favorite lines. You have a lot of incredible lines in this movie, these monologues.
And I loved at the end, when seeing it today, it does come back around when she says, later on, does she say to Nakia, she says, she's not dead. You know, it's the same thing that Ramonda said. You know, he's. Oh, I'm sorry. He's dead, but he's not gone. And she says that to Nakia. You know, she's dead, but she's not gone.
Because at the end of the day, she really was listening.
Yeah,
they're always listening. They hear you.
You'll be crazy at the end of it, but they heard you. They pounded it, but they heard you. Trust, I believe.
All of us are thinking about the times when we've called our moms 10 years later and we're like, I'm so sorry. But yes, I mean, from the first moment that we see you on screen in this film, but in particular, you know, we get a chance to see the leader, and the fact that, you know, we're getting a chance to see not just the mother in this film, but also the leader of Wakanda. I mean, Ramonda has been the leader for some time. She was leader during the blip. You know, she's been doing this for a while. But there's that scene in the UN. This incredible monologue that I think when a lot of us saw the trailer for the first time, we were like, cool, okay, so Oscars are done? We can just call it quits right here. What did it take? What do you tap into in scenes like those when you have, you know, because you're playing so many different elements there, because you know that you've caught the perpetrators, but you kind of have to wait to the exact right moment for the reveal to happen. So you're kind of playing with all of the emotions of the, you know, what this standoff with the other powers is going to be.
You know, I love that idea of that, how they have truly underestimated Wakanda, and they have underestimated this woman and this nation, and they just think they are so smart, and they, you know, and they have, you know, they've gotten what they want, you know, surreptitiously, clandestine, but she just listens. It was the first day of shooting, and which was like, oh my God, frightening, you know, scary, you know, this whole weight of this movie. And now we're about to begin. And we had maybe a couple of days before had visited with Chadwick's resting site, you know, sort of ground ourselves. And here we are on the first day. And it was just, you know, first day, jitters. So many elements to come together, so much information, so much data, so, you know, costume in this big room, and you know, and the security detail that's with her. When I saw them, woo, that gave me power. I was like, oh, we are bad, we look good. Oh my God, so much information, you know, just to be fueled as an actor with all this stuff, and of course the incredible costume that Ruth Carter, you know, dressed me in. That was like 50% of the job right there. But yeah, and also one of the actors in the scene, the main one who's doing all that bad talking, you know, he and I go with Richard Schiff, you know, I mean, you probably know him from West Wing and other things, but he was, when I graduated from drama school, I did a little off Broadway no-pay showcase. That's way over by the river in New York, nowhere near the center of town. We did Antigone. I was Antigone, and he was my director. So here we are, all these many years later, in this room. So it was really interesting to have that, like a history. A bit of a history with someone, but haven't seen them in a long time. So it wasn't just like, you know, a face that I just met that day in that moment. So that was a gift, you know, on the day in the play. So yeah, it was a great time. So I could just sit there, like, I know things about you, and I really did know things about him. I was like, because back in the day, I was like, woo, something else, Mr. Director. So it was like, but yeah.
I mean, as actors, you do have to pull from somewhere.
Use it, make it good for everything, you know.
What else, you know, obviously, of course, with the devastating loss of Chadwick, you know, I know that was something you were all using in this film as you worked through your grief and worked to support each other as well through this project. You know, what else were you pulling from and using with this as you're kind of, you know, fleshing out this story of who she is, because I do feel like we learn just so much more about her. And we literally see, I made the joke about under the crown, but we really do. We get to actually see, the mourning and her hair and how, the different ways of, the ways that she's found to find power, and to be powerful throughout her life and existence as the queen and as a woman.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. Yeah, in Ryan, when you talk about the hair, Ryan talked about one and cutting it, that being a period of mourning, that they would shave their head. I suppose in some communities, he's got to make it different from the last time, So now I got short hair and Nakia has long hair. She's got dreads. We can't both have dreads, I guess. So dealing with it differently. But thinking about, like you said, being a mother myself, that whole element, and trying to guide her and be there but not be too oppressive, because she's a smart girl, and the more I push, the more she'll push away, but trying to, being gentle. Also, a mother not just to her, but a mother to Okoye, and how difficult it is to make, difficult decisions and something, but Shuri is, she's last of the family. She's queen mother to many, but from time to time, those hard decisions must be made. And she lost my kid. So so I need someone else in that position, and it's a hard decision, to make. And you're listening to counsel from this one and that one and that one, but then in the end, you have to take your own counsel. I find I do that a lot in life too. I'm a good listener, especially to, good friends who I trust their opinion. And then you have to sit with yourself and make your own decision, because whichever way the mop flops, you're going to be responsible for it. So,
Well, tell me a little bit about that scene between you and Denai when you're in the throne room, as you mentioned, having to be real honest about the fact that she lost your daughter. You really didn't want her to go, and she said she'll be okay.
I trusted Okoye.
And then she wasn't.
Okoye, and it was one of the rare times that it didn't go the way she thought it would, because of these sneaky teenagers. But running off and doing things. But that was a great day. That was a great day on set. The set by Hannah Beachler is just amazing. She's a little petite thing. But such immense talent, this woman, and she built the world. We didn't have to imagine much, the throne room. I guess they put it in storage somewhere, but here it is with the clay floor and the glass floor, and it, suppose we can see down into Wakanda, into the land, and then it's filled with water at some point. The Dora Milaje standing, up along the border there. The writing that is, it is language, there is a language, and each part of that script means something, if you know the language. Just beautiful. The back wall, all of that. So, a little degree of blue screen, but so much. It's so rich there. And that was one of those days, an actor, where, you gotta drive it. You know what I mean? It's not like back, forth, a little ping pong or tennis. No, your character has to drive. You have to drive the energy, you have to drive the scene, you got the tempo, drive the emotion, and it's on you. So that was that day, and it was filled with maybe like half this number. So it's a lot of people in there. So get over your nerves, get over yourself, But I had time to work on it, and it was one of those written scenes. As soon as you read it, you just felt it in your gut. You felt that pain, you felt that loss, you felt that grief, you felt that, like, what do I do now? You felt it in your gut, hopelessness, but I got to do something, And so on that day, it was as close to being back on the stage, back in theater, as you're afforded sometimes, doing film or television, where sometimes it's, so rarely have, time to express yourself, with this kind of length of time. So it was really very operatic, Shakespearean, and I remember at the end of the scene, because it's like I had to run to the Jabari, and they saved me, and yet also have control, maintain, the control of the pace, but also, you're letting out all of this grief and emotion. So it was like a real nice, real balancing act. And at the end, the crew and the cast like applaud and was like, huh? And then you're like, snap back. It's like a what? Snap back to reality, which is great, which means you're not like outside yourself, looking at yourself and what you're doing, but you're in the moment. And that's what you strive to do, to be in the moment with the person that's right in front of you. And I couldn't have had a better, everyone else disappeared with Okoye there, with Denai there, because she was filled with emotion and present every single second. So she drove me and I her, and we did that thing together. It was beautiful. It's filled with guilt, it's filled with grief, it's filled with anger, but it's also filled with love, because this is, as you said, it's someone you trusted implicitly with the thing that's the most important to you in the entire world, and it pains you to have to tell her, like, get up out of here. But of course, then it also creates even more emotion when we go back into the throne room again for her heroic final act. I hate saying that word, that idea that this happened, because I imagine it happened in this room as well. Just like shock and just like how could we? What do you, when you started first reading it and then of course preparing for it, because there was so much underwater work that you all had to do with this film and training and getting under there with the weights, what was it like to prepare for knowing that this would be kind of this heroic final moment? Oh gosh, I was not looking forward to that. The saving grace is that you shoot out of sequence. So it's not gonna really be your last day. I'm very glad that it was. Right. Me too. But yeah, I was, oh gosh, I just fallen in love with Ramonda, I've fallen in love with being queen, don't we, ladies? Queen is you're always our queen. She's dead, not gone. Okay. And Ryan with his promises, the MCU. Dead don't have to be dead. And it's like, all right, Ryan, I am going to grudgingly believe you on this one, brother, And but you get over, and I trust my director, and I trust, the process and what he's trying to do. And it was to have, you have to have with these high stakes, it's the highest stake, and our little baby girl has to get over that and to deal with it, so this is the biggest wall that she has to face, so I had to trust him, and trust that moment, and to see the reaction after the fact. Who knew that? It was so thrilling that I think audience come to feel as if she is their queen mother or she is their mother, and we all have mothers, and complicated relationships with them, but doggone it, they're our mamas, had my own, and so it was interesting. My kids saw it again today. My daughter, for the third time. When she knows it's coming, it's like, I will be here in 2 hours and 41 minutes, darling. I will. But it was hard. It was hard, but it's to save Riri And that's what we do. We sacrifice ourselves. Mothers sacrifice themselves from time to time. That was an interesting day. Trained on the water, and then we get there, and we had this extended break in between because we had a mishap on the set, so we had to like shut down for about 4 months, and oh gosh, and then I sort of didn't keep up my swim lessons. I tried to breathe every day, whatever. When we got to the set, we did it, and I only had to go down maybe about 10 feet. You have people who are holding you down. It was like, and stand on a ladder in this, deep, so the break of the water, the surface of the water is about 10 feet, and I'm standing down on a ladder waiting for action. So, it's like, come on, Dominique, come on, Riri. So you're just starting to stay calm. And she just has to, be dead weight. And say, okay, 1, 2, 3, and you go down, and they hold you down on the ladder, and you're underground waiting for camera, set, action. You're like, did I hear it? Everything's muffled underwater, and you're like, we're getting ready to go down, and your camera said, be ready to go, crew, be ready. All right, I'm ready. You ready? Okay. Here we go down. Camera, set, action. You got everything in place, and then we would, she dead weight, and then I'm coming. And the first time I did it, when we're practicing, they have little clips on your nose. That keeps water from going up your nose, especially when you put your head up. When I broke the surface, it was a big surprise. Water's all through, water's all up in my head, in the brain cavity, everywhere. It's like, wow. Okay, that was a surprise. So you go and you do it again, and then Ryan says, do you mind if we go a little deeper so we have more distance to travel? So they're going to take the ladder away and take me even further down. I was like, okay. Never say you can't do. Just this is going to be a challenge, but we're going to do it. So we go even deeper, and I'm just stroking, and there's, I only have so much breath, and I don't know where the surface is. I was so happy after the second take. He said, we got it. I was like, good night, goodbye, and I ran home that night.
And you thought playing Tina Turner was physical. My goodness. Well, I mean, this is...
I almost drowned, y'all. For my art.
That the man who saw you for the first time in Boys in the Hood in that restaurant scene would have a little more respect. I'm just kidding. But we have time for just a couple of questions from you all. So please, we have comments, but we really would love some great questions. I've got time for about 2 or 3. So first hand right here. Hi.
How you doing? My question is in regards to we're talking about your death. So what was your reaction when you read that you were dying?
I was so miffed. That's a good word. I didn't like it at all. I was so disappointed. And as soon as I talked to Ryan, I was like, Ryan, no, brother. No, why do you do this, right? Don't do this, Ryan. People are going to be so upset, Nobody wants to see their mama go. He was like, no, I know, and he's so sweet. He's so gentle. He's so magnificent. I'm like, I'm not gonna fight, but so hard, because he's my director. He's the lead. He's my leader, and I'm there to, serve his vision. And what a vision! So, and after the first one was like, but I'll just let you know. It's not my favorite part.
No, we would really have preferred to.
And I had to keep the secret from my kids. Mom, what's happening? Oh, nothing. Only one I could tell was the dog. I could tell.
How'd your dog react?
Oh, she's shady. I'm not taking her for a walk or giving her scraps. She's like, or a belly rub. Yeah.
All right, we've got
Shady
time.
Piper. Yeah.
Just a couple of more. I feel like I saw a hand
Didn't like
here and a hand here in front. So let's go to the back first, please.
Okay, hi. So, what was your first film? How did you go from it? And what was your favorite part in this movie?
Very first film? I think I was reporter number 3 in FX. And on my resume, I gave myself a name. Instead of reporter number 3. And when I went to see it in the movie theater, I couldn't see, so I had to go to the, drinking so much water with my best friend from college. I said, I don't know, I think they cut it. I'm going to the restroom. Came back, you were on! What? So we had to sit there again so I could see. He asked my one question. To the guy. So that was my first film. What did I learn? Said, go to the restroom before the movie. Don't drink too much liquid. You don't want to miss your big moment. But I had, other films, Critters 4, Did I die in that? No, I didn't die in that. I made it to the end. Black girl made it from the beginning to the middle to the end. We did in some smart and final warehouse, it's low budget or whatever. It's, I don't know who's gonna see it, but I had a chance to craft a character from beginning, middle, end, all out of sequence, when usually, to that point, I'm the best friend of, the girlfriend to, the secretary of, the reporter number 3, that kind of thing. But I was telling a young man today, it doesn't matter how small or whatever, it's an opportunity to be consistent, to be professional, to be grateful. It's an opportunity to take care of the small things so that when you have bigger responsibilities, you have flexed those muscles and learned those lessons. So, time go long, and then you have something like, what's love got to do with it? And it's, and here you are. You have to be those same things. Be grateful, show up on time, be professional, be cordial, be generous, be respectful of your crew, generous with your actors, and it continues, and be prepared, to serve, the story, ultimately. So it's, and in those, and all along the way, every time I say yes, you never know how it's going to, roll out and be accepted, but does it, as you say, does it do something for you? Does it grow you in some way? Is it a theme that you want to put out there in the world about who you are, about who we are, about, about life, about choices? So that's what, I've tried and continue to try to do. Whenever I say yes. Exercise your no option. Someone told me once, exercise your no option. So you're available for your yeses.
How did this film grow you? How did this film change you?
I'm just incredibly grateful. It's just been like about 30 years since What's Love till now. It's been a long and varied career, and sometimes it's been like, slow downs and stuff like that. Like after What's Love, it was like no job for 18 months. But you've got to keep yourself interested and available and not become jaded, and to be ready when opportunity arrives, and find other ways to express yourself, to satisfy your soul, and to not lose, why you fell in love with what you're doing, in the first place, keep the joy stealers at bay.
Well, we're always ready, and you're always iconic. And we have just one last question here. The young woman right here. Yes, hi. No?
Oh, you had a question?
Yeah.
I have a theater class as well, and I really struggle with accents. And I want to know how you did so well in that.
Oh my goodness, yeah, we had a wonderful coach, Beth McGuire. She, I think she teaches in New York. She was a coach at Yale Drama School where, a couple of our students work when Nakia, I call them by the character.
Lupita and Winston,
Lupita
yes.
and Winston she wasn't there when I was there, we had somebody else. And we were learning Irish accents and, Polish accents and all of that. But she's just a very, very, very good coach. And there are some very talented people out there who study it, who break it down. And sometimes I would have difficulty if, I probably can't do it now. We were rolling the R's a lot. There's a lot of rolling of R's, and if two R's came back to back, like re, I would have to slow down, re, which sounds kind of weird. But if I could just get it once, I need it once. But she would encourage me to think in a certain way or put the accent in a certain place, or instead of going for what I would go for initially, she'd give me another way of looking at it, and then it would come out just perfectly. But I would have to take my time and not beat myself and just practice, so that I could stop thinking about it, because that's the part that's technical. That's the technical. That's not the feeling. And when you have technical, like an accent over here, then you're trying to, and of course then she's between every scene, it may be something to tweak, and it's just like, you're trying to deal with the emotional. Then you got that balance you have to deal with, and some people love you to come in between the scene, and sometimes I don't like all that information, so she has to find a different way to work with me than to work with you, than to work with everybody else on the set. But yeah, that's interesting. We have technical and we have the emotional, and to try to marry that so that they play nicely. Really well. Hey.
And our last question, excuse me, I want you to know how deeply touching your work is, not only in Wakanda Forever, but also in the amazing documentary Goodnight Oppie. Your voiceover work in that film is so incredible. It absolutely elevated and enhanced the story. I hope everyone gets to see it and hear your remarkable voiceover performance.
Well, thank you so much. That's we find other stories to tell, and that's a documentary that just won five documentary awards, and it's about the Mars Space Shuttle and JPL right up the street. They're like my neighbors, so I said, yeah, I'll do it. So I'm the voice of NASA. Trying to be smart. Can't really be a scientist that way,
but you can
but
always
I get to play one. That's right, and learn something in the process too.
Well, thank you so much, Angela. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Sunday with us. You're the best.
Thank you for spending your Sunday with us. And just also, Angela's still in production for 911. So for everybody's safety, we just want to kind of everybody be very chill and calm, because we don't want this lovely woman to get sick. Because we need more incredible, iconic performances from her. And again, thank you all for coming. Thank you.